Hi everyone. This is just a little add-on to our service today. If any of you were watching the talk last week where I was talking about Jesus' ascension, I mentioned in my talk my Isabel's pet caterpillar, Elliot. And so things have changed in Elliot's life, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update, a bit of add-on to my talk almost. So if you want to carry on listening, then please do. If not, then I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. So when I was writing that talk, I felt that God really just blessed me with a beautiful illustration of how, at the time, change can feel really heartbreaking and scary, but actually it can also be something really quite wonderful. You know, Izzy found this pet caterpillar, which she called Elliot, and she loved him. I mean, she would take him out every single day, and he would be climbing all over her hands and her legs. And she was just blissfully happy having a pet. And it was a pleasure to watch, even though I knew that, at some point this would change. And when that inevitable started to happen, when he became slower and a bit unresponsive, Izzy's grief was real. You know, we would tell her that he had to change, that he would want to change, that there was going to be loads of new adventures and experiences for him to have. But she couldn't really see it. She didn't want him to change. Well, in my talk, I drew comparisons to the disciples saying goodbye to Jesus at his ascension. And they had already gone through that shock and grief and then joy of his death and resurrection. And then they'd had him for another 40 days after that. And I imagine that it was very difficult for him then, for them then to watch him go that last time. But sometimes we do have to stand back and see the bigger cycle. And Jesus had done everything that he needed to do. His earthly ministry had been finished. And something else wonderful was about to begin. Now, I told you that Elliot had transformed into a pupa, and we were waiting for him to emerge as a moth. And I will level with you, I wasn't super confident that he was going to do that. He'd been in a pupa for quite some time. And I wondered whether it was going to happen. But thankfully and wonderfully, on Wednesday evening, he broke free from his pupa. And I don't really have the pictures that do him justice, but Isabel was thrilled, really happy, but also kind of reluctant to release him. You know, once again, she showed me how change can be scary. And we can be so desperate to hold on to the way things were that we're not open to the way things might be. So she said, well, can we keep him until tomorrow? And I was like, that's fine. Okay. We had him in this big plastic storage tub, and we had this bit of cloth over the top, like netting, chiffon-y type thing. And I thought that would be absolutely fine. But it wasn't. We came and checked on him in the morning, and he had disappeared. He wasn't in the box, and my heart literally sank. You know, Isabel really looked, well, devastated, really. She hadn't got to say goodbye to him or to see him fly. And it certainly wasn't the happy ending that I had envisaged in my head. And I've been telling my life group all about Elliot. And, you know, I couldn't bring myself to tell them that it had all gone a little bit flat. And obviously, I checked everywhere, like you do. And, you know, I couldn't find him. So the next day we opened up the house, all the doors, all the windows were open. And we assumed that at some point he probably just flew away. But in a beautiful twist that had me, honestly, in just floods of tears, Friday morning, I opened the curtains to the lounge windows. And there he was on the inside of the window. And I called for the kids. They come running. And Isabel got to see Elliot in all of his glory. And she got to say goodbye, open the window and watch him flutter off into the sunshine. But most importantly, she got to know that Elliot loved her and didn't just leave without saying goodbye. Now, isn't that true of Jesus? You know, he loves us so much that he would die for us. He has returned to be at the right hand of his Father in heaven, but he didn't leave us without the next stage, the new beginning, the amazing gift of the Holy Spirit. Now that Izzy has seen Elliot and seen him fly away, I think that she can now see why he had to change and is happy for him. Change doesn't always have to be bad. It can be beautiful and wonderful and bring new challenges and adventures. Now, Izzy was quick to tell me that next year we are bound to have tons and tons of caterpillars in our garden because Elliot will naturally choose our garden to lay his eggs. She has confidence that he will come back, and I love that. And I want to remind you as a final thought then that as the disciples watched Jesus disappear from sight, 2 angels appeared next to them and reassured them that he would return. We can have confidence in that and great hope.